Morning students. So last topic for today's lecture in discussion about the structure of flower. This last we are going to discuss today is the detailed structure of anther, or I will say sectional view of anther. Right, as we discussed that anther is can be that monothecous and dithecous, if it has one lobe or it has two lobes. So here we are drawing the common anther shape, that is our two lobes. Right, I'm here drawing the structure of anther with the two lobes, which will help you to understand the structure of anther in detail. That is actually the transverse section of TS of anther. Right, so you can do it like this, or I'm making it here just for the better understanding of the anther. Right, as you can see, this is our one lobe and this is our second lobe. Now each lobe has how many pollen sacs? Two pollen sacs. So let's draw pollen sacs. These are one, this is second, and here are also you have to draw two pollen sacs, one and two. Right, so that this is our structure of anther. If we have to draw now, there is a strip of sterile tissue, as we discussed. That is our, what is that sterile tissue which is present in anther? This is connective tissue. So this is called connective, which does not play a role in the reproduction. And what is this portion is called as? This portion is called as the microsporangia. It is given the name microsporangia. This one pollen sac is known as microsporangia. When it is known as microsporangia, when your anther is young. Now sometimes students get confused that what is the transverse sectional section. That is, if we are drawing anther like this and if we cut it like this, then this structure we are easy to see. So when we cut it like the transverse way, then this structure is appeared. Now when anther is young, it is known as microsporangia. Later on, after its development, or I will say after maturation, that is known as pollen sac. So after maturity or maturation, they are known as pollen sac, but initially these sacs, they are known as the microsporangia. Two theca means how many microsporangia? 4 microsporangia you can observe in angiosperms. Right, 4 microsporangia will be easily observed. Now next thing we have to draw here is the layering. So for layering, I have to just draw it little bigger in size, because otherwise we will not able to understand that how layering actually arranged here. Right, so I'm making it little big for the I will make layer only in these parts, then you can complete it later. So I'm drawing here one pollen sac. Right, in here we have our sterile tissue, that is the connective one. Now the first layer, usually you have to need to remember that anther is made up of 4 layers. We have to draw 4 layers, 4 different types of layer. So first layer, that is made up of flat cells. So we are going to draw flat cells like this. This layer, very first layer of anther is made up of flat cells, and these flat cells, they are known as, this is single layer. Right, flat layer, the flat cell layer and single layer, and this layer is known as epidermis. So what is the first layer of our tapetum? That is epidermis, single flat cell, single layer. What is the function of epidermis? That is protection. It protects the anther wall. Next layer beneath epidermis, beneath this another single layer, but these are radially arranged, compactly present. This layer has the cells which are radially arranged, tightly, compactly packed. They have thickenings at the end also, and these thickenings are having substance that is called callus. So this layer which I am drawing with the another color, this is called endothecium, right? So first layer was our epidermis, and second layer I am drawing here is that this layer, that is endothecium. Clear? That is also single layer. They are arranged in which manner? They are arranged in radial manner and compactly arranged. These cells, they are compactly, very tightly arranged, right? We will write these detail later on. First you need to understand. Then they have callus thickening also. Then that is comes as now the middle layer. Middle layer is 3 to 4. It is having circular spherical shaped cells, and it is 3 to 4 layers. Means that is not single layer of cells, that is having the cells approximately, you can draw here, 3 to 4 layers. And that is our third layer, which is called middle layer. So this layer which has rounded cell, that is called our middle layer. Clear? So this, like this, we have to draw our middle layer. So this layer is middle layer. So first layer was epidermis, then there is endothecium, and third layer is middle layer. Now these three layers, epidermis, middle layer and endothecium, they help in dehiscence, right? You need to understand that there we are having three layers: epidermis, then we have drawn endothecium, and third we have drawn is middle layer. These three layers help in dehiscence. Dehiscence means when the microspores, they are set free, or the rupture. Basically, if I have to specify it, rupture point of rupturing of anther, that process is called dehiscence, and this point is called point of dehiscence, right? Now then question comes in mind, how does it takes place? Actually what happens is, when anther this is the point where anther ruptures. So anther when anther get matured, these three layers, all the three layers, they get fibrous. Fibrous means they get very rigid, except at the point of dehiscence. Only that point which not get rigid. So otherwise these three layers, they get very rigid. So after once anther get matured, it is released from this point of microspores. They are released from this point of dehiscence, right? So next is about the next layer. I said 4 layers are there. Then what is the another layer? That is our innermost layer, which is having pyramid shaped cells, that is tapetum. This layer which I am drawing here in this microsporangia or pollen sac, that is tapetum. So this innermost layer is called tapetum. Now one of the very important layer when we discuss the structure of anther, its function also comes asked in exam also. It is innermost layer and its cells. Now it has the filled with the compactly arranged cells, and these cells, they are known as archisporial cells. What is this structure? This structure is microsporangia. And what are these cells? These are archisporial cells which give rise to pollen grains. But before we will discuss how pollen grains are released, how they are formed, so first we need to discuss here, and for you need to understand is functions of tapetum. As I said that tapetum is the layer, innermost layer, which is having thick cytoplasm it has, and it is multinucleate. When something is multinucleate, when it undergoes endomitosis, or which undergoes only karyokinesis, not the cytokinesis, that condition result in the multinucleate condition. Again I am saying, when only karyokinesis is there, no cytokinesis, that give rise to our condition that is multinucleate. So tapetum is having thick cytoplasm and multinucleate condition. What is its function? The most important function of tapetum is it is a very nutritive layer. When something is nutritive, it means it provides nourishment. To whom? Nourishment to developing microspore, who are developing inside the anther, that is microspore. So it provides nourishment to developing microspore. Second very important function, it secrete enzymes. Which enzyme it secrete? That is callase. When we draw the endothecium layer, I said that cells, I will show you here, that these cells, these radially arranged cells, when we draw, I said that these cells, they have thickenings, and these thickenings, they are having callose. So now what does tapetum do? Tapetum secrete enzyme, that is callase. What is the function of callase? Callase dissolves dissolves the material or substance, that is callose, right? Basically, so callose, if it will dissolve, only then microspores will be set free. Next function it perform is, tapetum cell, they produce Ubish bodies. Ubish bodies, actually they are coated with sporopollenin. Sporopollenin. In the first chapter, when we draw, usually the structure of anther we draw like this, right? And outermost layer is exine. So cells produce Ubish body which are coated with sporopollenin. Now question is, what is sporopollenin? Most resistant substance. Most resistant substance which makes exine of pollen grain. I hope it is clear now that outermost layer of pollen grain is exine. It has the structure it has the substance sporopollenin that is released by tapetum. The next function it performs is help in formation of pollen kit. Pollen kit is not can be seen in every flower, but yes, it is can be seen in a flower which is very common, that is China rose. We call it as a China rose also, that is hibiscus. What is pollen kit? If you touch this flower, a hibiscus, when we touch this hibiscus flower, you can observe that a yellow kind of powdery structure is observed, that attached to your hand also, and that is called the pollen kit, which is formed by the innermost layer, that is called tapetum. Now tapetum is of two types. Usually tapetum, we say that it is of two types. One, if it is secretive in nature, and another is plasmodium type. If it is secretes substances, then it is called glandular, means it release substances by secretion. So that is called glandular tapetum. The another one is amoeboid. Amoeboid, what is that? That help in locomotion type? Yes. So amoeboid means very cells fuse to form plasmodium like multinucleate condition. So that kind of tapetum is known as amoeboid. So last, you need to remember till for revision, that what is the tapetum. It is like these. I will draw it again, like these triangular shaped structures, layer innermost of microsporangia, that is called tapetum, and innermost compactly arranged with the cells which are known as your archisporial cells, which give rise to your structure, which are we going to discuss in detail in next video, that is microsporogenesis, give rise to the pollen grain. I hope you are clear with this structure. Till then I will see you in the next video.